comics get like they're continuing like yeah, their first comic may not have been great, but like they're continuing and like, a lot of people get better over time. So
Yeah,
like even though we were just talking like there's not a lot of experience with a lot of these comic creators, like if they keep at it and some of them do there's stuff can and some people's do get better over time. And I
Yeah.
guess that shouldn't like I guess it shouldn't discourage people.
Well, I think a lot of these first time writers would do well to hire an editor, because an
Oh,
editor will help not only improve the book that they're writing now, but it will help improve their next book as well. Then they'll have a better idea of what they need to do when they write as they're writing their second and their third and their fourth. So
yeah. I want to ask you, Rob, because we were talking backstage and you mentioned that you have past experience as a what was it? Screenplay?
screenwriter.
yeah,
Screenwriter?
yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to maybe tell us about that and how that kind of transitioned you into making comics?
Well, listen. My first love was comic books, was because nobody's first love is screenwriting, right? Uh, but but it's a different medium. It's not quite as people try to sell it as being totally different than films. It isn't really. It's both a visual medium.
Mhm.
Both of them are. The comics are more static, so you have to like be more economical with what you're um, giving readers as a writer, But with the first book that I did, with the first Tales from the Classroom book, it was a learning process, obviously, and it was written, and the bulk of it was written 15 years ago, almost. I say 15 years ago, but it's more like 12. But yeah, since then I've developed as a writer a lot. I feel.
Yeah,
And,
well, that's important. That like because we were just talking backstage, like a lot of these people, they, not to shit on them, but like they don't have experience, and so it is always good. And like I said, like you got a pretty positive review on Well Reds, which they can be, kind of harsh. So
they
that's
can,
nothing
yeah, they
to
can be
like scoff
pretty
at.
harsh. They were quite positive, even though like the material isn't really like what, and the first book in particular wasn't catered towards them. It's skewed a lot younger. It's definitely all ages, whereas this one is more in the young adult wheelhouse.
Did you find
And
it hard to transition that, like writing it? Was it hard to go from like all ages to, I guess, kind of narrowing down on a specific audience
no,
age?
it's just a matter of like not censoring yourself so much.
Mhm.
With the first book, listen. The first book was based on a screenplay.
Yeah.
Um, so will the second book and the third book and all that. So like the story's already done. It's like it's locked in. It's just a matter of adapting it to the comic book space, right?
Yeah.
But my initial conception of Tales from the Classroom was that it would be sort of like a Saturday morning cartoon. It could work as a Saturday morning cartoon or a TV show of some kind as well. If it didn't
Oh,
Mhm.
pan
it totally could have. It totally can. Yeah, it
if it didn't
totally
pan
can.
out as a film. Um, so I had that in mind, and having that in mind, if you're trying to cater to a Saturday morning cartoon audience, then you have to really be careful with what kind of stuff you're giving them.
Yeah, I mean, well, sometimes they get a little risky, like a little adult. Just it's not so overt.
I always thought the best cartoons, and this is from now going back and watching them again, it from my childhood, God, are the ones that can appeal to kids and their parents, so that their parents aren't sitting there. And this is true for like all of children's TV, I think, so that their parents aren't bored and find it infantile. but the kids can enjoy the story and the humor as well. I mean, it doesn't have to have like weird little, entendres or anything that only adults will get.
Yeah,
Because I think that happens a lot now.
it does.
It didn't happen as much, back in the 70s and the 80s as it does now.
It happened a lot during the 90s when I was
Yeah, that's when
watching
it kind of started. That's when it really kind of started. Yeah.
Well,
And there's
that's when
some
all
weird
the
ones.
that's when all
But
this the trend to subvert everything started. Even in cartoons with Ren and Stimpy, which I'm a huge fan of. For
oh,
example.
yeah, that one, oh, jeez.
But that's a total subversion of Tom and Jerry, and it's like a postmodern take on Tom and Jerry that I find
Mhm.
hilarious. But it's not exactly for kids.
Well, even Tom and Jerry, there are some, adult innuendos going on in Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah, there are, but there's a difference in subtlety, I think.
I
And
don't I'm just not
that's really
sure,
what
right?
it
Because
is.
now I'm thinking, like, Looney Tunes and, like, that also had I don't
Well,
know, I think maybe we're just
a lot of like the early Bugs Bunny cartoons were for adults. They were actually um brought to be actually not for kids. They were
oh,
really for adults. A lot of the early cartoons were things that they played in the middle of double features on Saturday matinees that were, more adult themed.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. You learn something new every day, Dean.
That's not true. That's not true. Oftentimes, I tend to, unlearn things every day. I tend to get, dumber as days go on.
And
It's pretty surprising. I'm
yeah.
like the Benjamin Button of knowledge.
We haven't even said hi to the chat. Hi, chat. Green October, Matt
Ooh,
Bear. It's nice to see you. Hi, Billy. Hello,
uh,
Mr. Lobster.
Billy's
Yeah,
here? Oh, gross.
Billy's here.
Oh,
No, I
god.
like Billy.
Ooh, no, I'm joking. Hey,
Billy
Matt.
does some beautiful colors.
Yeah, no, I was just joking. I like to give Billy
Yeah, yeah. Billy's got a lot of talent, and watching Matt draws is pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, Matt's a cool guy.
He's so aggressive when he draws. It's great. And I don't just
Yeah,
mean
sometimes
like
I wish I was one of his drawings and he'd get aggressive with me.
Jesus.
Slap me around, Matt.
But I did get a chance to read your first book, The First Tales from the Classroom, and I really liked it. I loved the whole story of Rob's first day at a new school. Partly
That's
because
glad to know.
even though he's this zombie, it's still very relatable. Like everything that kind of happens to him, it's just the weirdness of it because of what he is and what everybody else is.
Well, I figured the zombie would be in a world where only monsters exist. That the zombie would be the most relatable monster for people because when you're going through puberty, we all sort of feel like zombies anyway, right? With the with our
Yeah.
with the
Yeah,
acne and well, for some people, puberty is a total horror show. I actually lucked out in that sense, but there were some kids in my class and elsewhere that really went through a tough time.
Yeah,
yeah.
I lucked out with puberty because like I hit puberty like 4th grade. Like that's when I started getting acne, and then 5th grade it was like kind of worse. 6th grade it started to get better, and then by the time that I started high school, I was already like done with that phase. It was great.
Mhm. And
Yeah,
that's when I hit it super late, actually. I
it's a
was
little
like,
different when you're a
when
girl.
it came around, I was like, oh, yes, puberty.
Finally, my voice will change.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
but
funny.
it definitely captured the horror of high school. Like,
Yeah.
in very subtle ways, and not like the whole teachers in the classroom, but just the other kids, because kids are, you know,
Yeah,
I
it'd be terrible. Yeah.
I felt lucky because I went to this really weird little small school. Um, Literally, there were only 250 students, and that was the biggest class. That was the biggest student body they'd ever had. So there were 62 kids in my senior class at the beginning of the year and 58 at the end. So it wasn't quite as weird as it was when I would go visit my friends in these big, huge public schools,
Hmm.
which were just, 1,200 students. And I'd be like, how do you do this every day? And everybody's all cliquey and just cruel to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I loved the Wolfgang.
They just make, the thing about this first book is that I had to sort of do a little bit of a lore dump on readers and present a lot of characters, because this is a universe with lots of with a big cast. But anyway, introduce all these characters in a very quick fashion. You don't really get into who they are as personalities, but you're presented to them, so that
I
as
thought
you
this.
read
I'm
future
sorry.
Tales from the Classroom books, we're going to delve deeper into who these characters are. And sorry, go ahead.
I thought the school bus was a really good and bad. This is going to come off as a bad pun, but I thought that was a really good vehicle for quickly introducing everybody, because they're all in this little confined space. And
yeah, but it's the Mos Eisley of this universe, when you realize you're stepping into really some super fantastical a super fantastical world.
So who drew this story in the first one? Who was the artist?
The first one is this artist named Sebastian Bronico.
Mm-hmm.
He's an Argentinian artist who did comic books, and actually I didn't hunt him down originally, because this was supposed to be published by Viper Comics, which is this now defunct publisher, and they ran intermediary between me and the art team at the time. And
I really liked the art.
Yeah, the art's good. Yeah, the art's good.
Yeah.
I think the new one, like the main artist that we got for the future books, Monica McCagney, who did Monster MB, I think she's better. But I'm happy about the art. Yeah.
This one was only 2 pages. This story, and I thought it was beautiful. I thought the pages were just gorgeous.
What's amazing, it's one of the most amazing artists in indie comics, in my opinion. His name is Alejandro Mirabal.
Oh,
Long Harbor.
I missed that when I was. Yeah, I'm still waiting for my Long Harbor. Somehow hasn't made it to me. Yeah, I had to DM him, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's my first book from Iconic that I haven't gotten.
Really?
Yep.
They're good about that usually.
Yeah, they usually are. So I was kind of disappointed. But yeah,
maybe they just have it out for you, Vicky. I don't.
Yeah, now they just hate me.
Yeah.
I must have been mean to Doug Ernst or something.
Oh no, you were just you.
Yeah, but those 2 pages are just beautiful.
Yeah, so these 2 pages, this is an example of what I want to do. There's the main story that you'll get with each release of the main Tales from the Classroom book, but then you'll get these ancillary supplemental stories,
like these little vignettes.
Yeah, vignettes where you delve deeper into these characters. In this case, this is Kane Thulu, who's the founder of Cthulhu High. And he's like a sort of a mysterious figure that lots of people almost worship. He's sort of like a godlike figure. And this is just a little vignette. This is projected to be much longer. This story, and it will go on for at least 10 more pages, I'd say.
Nice. Yeah.
Now, is there a lot of I guess did in the writing of Tales of the Classroom, did you put like a lot of your own experiences from high school in there? Would you say like it's got
It's
a lot
it's
of
it's,
like realism?
it's partly experiences from my own experiences, and also drawn from your typical high school dramas. You know, your Revenge of the Nerds, your I don't know. We've
That's
all seen it.
that's
Ferris
my
Bueller.
favorite. Revenge of the Nerds is my favorite. Uh, I can't even put this nicely. Uh, it's it's my favorite love rape story. That yeah.
Jesus, Dean.
Oh god.
My God, Dean.
That scene with the Asian,
This is why I try not to take you anywhere.
that scene with the Asian with the, bite, that is probably my favorite, definitely very racist scene in a movie. Which I don't have a lot of those, but that one is probably the only one that I can think of and be like, "Yeah, that shit's funny." Um, that one is whoo. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but it's
I know
Yeah.
I brought Revenge of the Nerds as a reference, but I haven't watched that in years. So
there's
I
this
like
scene when they're doing the relay races, and the
mm,
Asian has to put on, like, this all yellow, um, like, uh, I guess, outfit, and he's on a bicycle, and it's singing, Daisy, Daisy, but
uh-huh,
it's very, very, like, purposefully, like, done with, like, this very stereotypical Chinese accent.
mhm,
Well, well, he's like dressed in all yellow. It's
I see.
yeah, it's
Yeah. Thanks, Dean.
yeah, no problem. Sorry, I don't mean to derail us, but it's kind of your guys' fault if you're gonna bring up Revenge of the Nerds.
Well, there is one thing that I did take into fairly deep consideration when coming up with Tales from the Classroom, which is um, the monsters that you see are all basically social cultural stereotypes. So you associate certain monsters with certain characteristics of well, certain stereotypes, and uh, and I try to do that with for example, the Swampers, like an East LA type wannabe gangster type. The Chupacabra is sort of like a Speedy Gonzalez type, which you just don't get anymore, you know, because everybody's
Mhm.
offended by everything. You have this character that we delve much deeper into, named Joshua the Golem, who embodies a lot of stereotypes associated with Jews, but never never in an offensive way. You know, I'm not trying to offend anyone. We're trying to embrace these stereotypes and make them fun. And many times you sort of subvert them at the end, but I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, that's the idea. Because these days everything is so cookie cutter, so politically correct that everybody's. You saw it even with Space Jam 2. They didn't want to use Pepe Le Pew or whatever because,
Yeah.
because it's
Poor
considered like
Pepe.
because of a hashtag Me Too sort of deal.
I mean, Pepe is, you know,
He was a ladies' man.
he was definitely
And she wanted him.
oh, that's the excuse we're going with. She wanted it. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, she wanted him. All right.
She was just playing hard to get.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Lying bitch wanted it. I get you. I get
But it's making fun of French, you know, this French
Mhm. No, I know.
hypersexualized. I have no problem with. Do you have a problem with Pepe Le Pew? I hope they don't.
I
They
have
don't
no
take it
problem
out.
with Pepe Le Pew.
You have a huge problem.
I mean, not only did he get the girl at the end, and it was always with hearts, so obviously she liked him, But you know,
Stockholm syndrome.
throughout
Yeah.
the whole time that she's leading him on the chase, he just gets beaten all to shit, doesn't he? I mean, like, you know, it's not like he comes out on top there. He gets
No,
the girl at the end, but you know, the
it's a
road
story of
he has to
persistence.
take from, you know, getting
It's a story of persistence. It's like I think every woman is flattered by a man who just won't give up.
So this is one of the variant covers or is
This
this
is one
the
of
main
the
cover?
this is one of the we have two variant covers for Tales from the Classroom. The Cthulhu Files, which I should explain, is a book that takes place in the Tales from the Classroom universe, but is a supplemental style type book, like your old school Tales from the Crypt books, where you get one shots of these different characters and done by different artists. And in this case, this is called The Tale of Cleotep, which is the backstory of one of the characters that was very briefly introduced in the first Tales from the Classroom. He's the school bus driver, the mummy driver,
Mm-hmm.
who's a redneck type, but who has sort of a mysterious past. And you get the sense that that he has like some kind of epic backstory to him, and he certainly does. And this is the one shot that was written actually by Von Klaus, with art by the Monster MD team, and I think it's fantastic. It's just a 12-pager, but somehow in those 12 pages, there's a lot going on, and it's a roller coaster ride for sure.
Yeah, it's a beautiful cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does look very nice.
Yeah. I like mummies. They're my favorite of the horror
Oh
genre.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
you should enjoy this then.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
Yeah.
And yeah. So this is
You only like mummies because you're the crypt keeper. Ha. Gotcha. Sorry, it took me like a minute I had to look up crypt keeper to make sure that the joke
It
made
took
sense.
you so long that the joke just fell flat, Dean.
It was also the delivery.
You gotta be quicker.
It was kind of on
your
purpose. It was
feet.
kind of on purpose. Jeez.
You had just sent me these, so I have no idea. Is this from that?
This is from the Tale of Cleotep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to send you just the art without the lettering,
Mm-hmm.
And it just looks
Yeah.
clean.
Yeah, I like seeing it without the lettering. No offense to your writing or anything, but
Well, Vaughn's writing in this case.
yeah.
I only edited it.
Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah, the pages kind of lent themselves to my being able to break them in half and put them on, but I wanted to be able to show it bigger.
No, I think it looks fantastic. I love Monica and Tanya. Tanya's the colorist. Wicker's approach, and it really captures, even more so than the first book, I feel, that Saturday morning cartoon, just that cartoon aesthetic, which is what I'm trying to really convey with this property. Oh, that's weird. He's got like red eyes in your version of the thing. Oh, it's like smudged.
Yeah, I think it was from when they came in TIFFs, they had layers, and when I flattened this particular image,
I should have sent you PNGs.
No, it's fine. It just happened when I flattened the image. That's all. It was from the color effect layer.
He looks extra evil in that second panel.
Yeah, I was doing it really fast. So instead of I merged all the layers in the group before I flattened the image accidentally. I wasn't paying really close attention. So that's what happened when I merged all the color effect layers. Just so you know, that's it.
No,
That's
don't worry.
that's my fault. That was me. It won't look exactly like this when you get it.
Jeez, Vicky. It's okay to be mad at her, Rob. Be
It was
mad at
only
her.
the one. I only did it on the one, and it
Vicky,
was
just
this
do
one.
better next time.
I will,
Jeez.
Dean. Jesus, I
I'm
promise.
sorry. I'm sorry about her, Rob. I,
So can I just address something that Billy Baxo is saying in chat, which
Yeah.
is he says that Monica is one of my favorite artists making comics currently. Such wonderful composition and energy. Yeah, she's so dynamic, and the compositions that she comes up with are just they're incredible. Very lucky to have landed that artist team. And
So this time around, you had to go, and you were the one that had to find artists. And
this time around, I had to find the artist. Also for the first book, I also had to track down the artist Sebastian because he did the cover, he did all these promotional pinups, and the idea was for him to continue the work and do volumes 2 and 3 and so on. But that didn't work out. And so now we've worked out a deal with Monica and Tanya, who are essentially Monster MD's team, and to do the books going forward.
So, what was that experience like? Since you didn't have to really do that, particularly for the first book, since that publisher did most of it.
It was much better because I have direct contact with the artist. Whereas before, the publisher kept me in the blind, basically. I had never any direct contact. I didn't even know who my artist was.
Wow.
I sent pages of the script to the publisher who would send it to Sebastian.
Wow. That's kind of crazy.
It was a strange sort of deal, yeah.
Did you get any sort of, were you able to give any feedback on the art after it was completed, before it was finalized? Or okay.
I was, yeah, I was.
Yeah. Let's see. So this. Go ahead, Dean.
Oh, no. Well, my question was unrelated. I was just gonna ask a fun question. Yeah. What's the like, I guess, craziest or what's the craziest story you have from back when you were in high school? Like, what's the craziest thing that happened to you personally?
I have 20,000 stories, but I have one that's super funny.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Where we were taking a quiz, and I was fiddling around. I was like one of those ADD kids, I couldn't sit still, and I was fiddling around with my chair. And one of the, there's like this the base of the chair, like there was this metal thing with a hole in it, where like I shoved my finger in there, and I couldn't get it out, like, but legit. And I was like to the teacher, "Hey, Miss Bento," and she's like, "It's a quiz, I told you. Would you shut up for once?" And I'm like, "No, but my finger's stuck in the chair." And she's like, "What do you mean your finger's stuck in the chair?" And I'm like, "It's like stuck in the chair." And sure enough, it was, and she couldn't get it out either. So she like paraded me with the chair stuck to my finger around a number of classes before like going to the nurse and everything, and they had to like after some oil
grease it out. Yeah. You would have thought that maybe that just would have been like the first thought or idea.
Her first thought, no, she felt that she thought it was such an hilarious thing that she had to like parade me.
Okay. See, no, you did say parade, but for some reason I thought she was going around, like you were just using that as like a figure of speech, but she was like going around.
She was literally showing everybody.
That's great. What a bitch.
No, but she did do that. She showed it like she went like knocking on other people's classrooms, like to show the chair. I mean, I couldn't give a shit. Like it was a very me thing to happen,
In eighth grade, I had a teacher. It was his name was Senor Ortiz Medina. He was from Puerto Rico. He was our Spanish teacher, and he it was his first time teaching. He was he had been a drill sergeant in the Army. Don't ask how he made the transition. I don't know. But the class was only 5 kids. And yeah, 5. And
It's so
one
strange.
day,
Like they got like such small class. Like we had small classes as well when I went to an American school here in Portugal, and it was super small. But 5 kids, that's like
yeah, my largest class in throughout high school was 12. That was the largest class size. But
yeah.
yeah, so there were only 5 of us, but one day he got so mad he kicked us all out. Yeah. But like I said, I went to a really weird school.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Did you ever have like a situation where everybody like cheated on their tests, like all like en masse, like your entire class?
no.
We had that.
Yeah. Yeah,
We had that.
definitely.
It's really kind of hard to do when there's only like 6 of you and the teacher's like situated right in the middle.
Right.
Sounds
Yeah.
like you guys weren't
Yeah.
creative enough, Vicky.
Yeah. No, but
I
like
did.
in our case, we did, and the one guy that didn't cheat was obviously the headmaster's son, who was in our class, and he ratted us out, and it wasn't so. Didn't turn out too well.
And then you guys beat him up at later, right?
No, he was a good friend. Of ours.
I had a math teacher named Lester who was an alcoholic chain smoker, and I had him for trigonometry and computer programming. And we had these classes that were an hour and 20 minutes long. And he couldn't go more than 15 minutes without having a smoke and maybe a belt. So we only had 15-minute classes. It was great because it was right before lunch. So we just leave and go
That's
grab
great.
something to eat.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the teachers, the teachers always end up being some of the most memorable characters in your high school experiences, even more so than the students, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
I rarely showed up to school. But my teachers all loved
Shocked.
me.
I'm shocked.
My teachers all loved me because like when I would show up, I wasn't like one of these asshole kids. I would just sit there and I think mostly I would sleep. But like like at my school there was it's like it was the 3rd most populated school in California. And so yeah, it's like there's like all the kids are assholes. And so even though I never showed up, my teachers really loved me because at least I wasn't like an asshole like
Right.
everybody
Yeah,
else.
there was a lot of that going on. I misbehaved a lot, but always in good fun. There was some other students that were disruptive, but with a mean streak.
Mhm.
Me, I feel like the teachers sort of liked me and let me get away with a lot of things that
Yeah.
maybe I shouldn't have. And the principals always like I would go be sent to the principal's office, right?
Yeah.
And for me it was not. I was like, all right, yeah, let's do it, because we would just like talk and we'd have some fun. We'd have fun, I'd have more fun chatting with the principal
Mhm. I
than
remember
than staying in class.
yeah. No, I remember Dean was Yu-Gi-Oh champ. I did play Yu-Gi-Oh. But I remember one time because I like never showed up and my like my mom would call me in sick, just to like get the excused absence. And one time they were like, they were finally
Wait.
like,
Your mom was like cool with you not showing up for school and would just call you in sick?
yeah,
Really?
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's better than, not calling,
Mo-
which is
Mama,
what the school ended up saying because like eventually they were like, yeah, well, he's missed so many days. So like there's no longer excused absences, and so she stopped calling, right? And then they were like, well, why haven't you called to let us know? And my mom was like, well, you guys said you stopped excusing the absences. So what's the point in calling? But I remember I showed up to class finally after like missing so many days. And like my teachers really did like me, right? And so I show up to chemistry and the teacher is like, "Hey, have you been to the office yet?" And I lied, and I was like, like a liar, and I said, "Yeah." And she's like, "Well, because it says here that I have to send you to the office if you show up. I'm really sorry." Like, she felt bad. And I was like, "No, no, it's okay." And I went in and I went into the office and they were like, "Oh man, one of these truancy officers is gonna stop by to talk to you." And so I was like, "Okay." And then they didn't show up. And then the next day I didn't show up to school again. So yeah, that's sorry. I don't mean to get us too distracted. It's just,
I had one teacher, Tom, who was my was a literature teacher, and he would come into class so incredibly baked that like his eyes would just be, I mean, just that, when you have those friends that have been smoking all weekend and their eyes, like they're practically like crying blood because their eyes are so bloodshot. That was him like every single
Crazy.
day. And he would pick one kid out of the class and just stare at them. And that was the person he asked questions of for an entire hour and a half. Yeah.
And do you think, and you're totally certain that he was completely baked out of his mind, or
Higher than a kite. Yep. Higher than a kite. Yeah, you could smell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I had a lot of fun actually creating, trying to figure out which monsters would suit which types of professors best, For example, for the chemistry teacher, we have this monster, Professor Hyde, obviously, of
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Jekyll and Hyde fame. The coach, the PE coach, is Coach Frank, just because I thought it would Frankenstein. Just because I thought it'd be funny to see like a PE coach with those massive, like encumbersome boots, and with like a drill sergeant type personality, like a Frankenstein. So, hey, you're gonna do this, man. Well, but this is all like stuff that you're not going to see in this book in particular, but in volume 2 and 3 and onwards. But there's another teacher that's the anatomy teacher who's like a skeleton, a living skeleton.
Oh, very cool.
And so on, So we try to make it appropriate to whatever it is that they're teaching.
yeah, the art's really, really nice.
Yeah, Billy is beyond impressed there in the chat.
Yeah, thanks, Billy. Yeah. Wait till you see the real thing.
Yeah, Billy, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Nothing.
Right.
You better back this book,
your
Billy.
Seat. You stay in your seat. No, I'm joking.
These are really cool. They are beautiful pages. And then we get into, this has to be Matt Krotz.
This is Matt Krotz, who has a much looser indie style that I thought would be appropriate for this particular story for reasons I don't care to divulge because they would entail spoilers.
I think it looks good. First, like I like it.
Yeah, it's I think it fits it's really good, and the pages, as you progress through the story, I feel like it gets better with the art.
Yeah. No, I just like I don't know, for some reason with it, that's a witch, right? Yeah. It looks it looks fitting just with like the character. That's, if that makes sense.
Well, the character is not of his conception. It's she already featured in the first book. That's Professor Peg. She's the history teacher.
Yeah. No, I just mean like it looks like it just like it kind of fits with that like character. If that, you get what I mean?
Yeah.
The art style, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And this is called Quest for the Cosmic Dreidel. It's a story that I wrote, and it's centered around Joshua the Golem, who you see over there. Vicky. It's the big lumbering clay monster with the pink shoes and the blue and white stripes. Yeah, right there.
Okay.
And the
Yeah,
kid,
Matt's style and the way he lays out a page didn't lend itself the same way to chopping them up into halves. So sorry.
it's okay.
I started to, and I'm like, I'm just not going to do that because it just it just doesn't work. You lose too much of it.
But one thing that I knew I wanted to do with the story was I wanted to incorporate lots of different elements from Jewish lore and mysticism and these kinds of things. And Matt, who loves to do historical deep dives, and that's basically his wheelhouse,
Mm-hmm.
would have informed the art with that, which he did, and I thought he did a very good job.
Yeah, he's very cool looking. Yeah, I like it. It sort of has this. It does sort of have this slight synagogue-esque kind of look to it.
That's it.
Too.
I mean, it's actually
That he gave to the school, and
yeah, it's supposed to be a synagogue. There's the premise is that they're visiting a synagogue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then in the middle of the field trip, Joshua, who you see there, breaks away from the rest of the group, and as they're going through the field trip, Professor Peg is telling him about this thing called the cosmic dreidel, which was said to have been created by this mythical figure named the Stone Golem, and Josh was super fascinated about it, right? But he ends up discovering a secret passage and embarking on a quest to discover this cosmic dreidel.
Very cool.
And it gets pretty trippy, pretty psychedelic, and it's sort of off the wall, more so than the rest of the story. But I think it's a special little one shot.
So
it's actually not that little. It's the meatiest one of all the stories that you'll read in this book. It clocks out at 24 pages. But it's I'm very proud of this one.
It's a little bit more mystical,
for sure,
than the rest of the book.
For sure, and it pushes the envelope more than any of the other stories.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. There's how many stories in this book?
There's 3 stories.
You only sent me the art for the 2, so or some art.
No, did I really?
Yeah.
Shall I share? Shall I share
That's
screen?
okay.
Or no?
Yeah, you can once we get all through these.
Because I really
want.
I really enjoy the artwork for the 3rd story called Back in Romero, which is essentially the story of Rob, who's the protagonist, the zombie, right?
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing you read the first book, Vicky, so you know that it's about this character that moves schools, right? He goes to transfers to a bigger multi-species school, and he goes from being the coolest kid in his previous school, which was an all-zombie high school, to being like bottom rung, basically, because zombies, he discovers to his dismay, are treated as sort of second-class citizens in the big city. And this story, Back in Romero, is how it's about Rob's life in Romero High, where he used to be the most popular kid in school, basically. And it's done by this Argentinian artist named Maxi Dallo, who I think did an amazing job. And I found him when I backed the Kill Journal. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he did a one shot written by Brian Kriskow of Six Gun Gorilla. I don't know if
Okay.
you heard that, but he's
Yeah,
like
I know what book it is.
he's an indie creator as well and a comic skate personality. And I was very impressed by this one shot, and I got in touch with him and asked him if he was interested to do this story, and he was, and here we are.
I
Now, let me.
really about this panel, I really loved that Escher-esque kind of thing happening with it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, just saying. Sorry to interrupt
No,
your
it's
flow there, but yeah. Yep, that was it. That was all that I had.
all right. Let me see if I can open these. Or actually, you know what, Vicky? If you go to my Twitter page,
Okay.
I'm sure you'll find, and just scroll down. I'm sure you'll find some art that we can show the viewers. I just want them to get a sense. You know, I don't want to like break up the flow of the chat, the stream too much, but I just want them to get a sense of what the art is like.
Sure. I found one. That's pretty cool. Let me. Whoops. Here we go. This is so much easier when I had a mouse that worked. I know. I think this would be one. Let's see.
No, that's from Tales from the Classroom 2, which is currently in development. But that looks fantastic, by the way.
Yeah, it does. That looks
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
That one is really cool.
That's Cletus, who you saw. We were just going through his one shot recently, a while ago. That's him versus Drake, who's sort of like the bully. He's like the most popular kid in Cthulhu High, and he makes Rob's life miserable. And he's the villain of Tales from the Classroom, basically. And they're throwing it down over here. This is, I think, is a great little cliffhanger.
Well, in the first one, he loses his hand when they fight.
He
right?
loses his head, yeah. He might lose a
Yeah.
lot more in his in the second one.
If you have anything any tweets that you can think of that you want to share, I'm more than happy.
I do. Listen, I just found I opened up the images, so I'm gonna share screen.
Okay.
Let me see. Share screen.
So I got some of my favorite creators in the chat too. We've got Jason Robinson and Eric Hawkins, Matt Bear, Billy Basco. Doesn't get much better than that. Very cool.
Do you see it?
Yes.
You do see it. All right. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that is really cool.
So this is Maxi Dallo with the line art, and on colors, this guy named Rolo Mayala, who's from Peru, if I'm not mistaken, and he's a fantastic artist in his own right. But for this, he's just doing the colors, and I think he did a great job. There's some spoilers going on here, but
It's beautiful.
but it's beautiful, no?
Yeah.
It is really,
gorgeous.
really nice. Yeah.
I'm proud of the work that we've done, and the colors I think look fantastic as well.
Yeah, they seem very fitting.
Yeah, it's grimy. I like that grimy look, you know.
Yeah.
For a zombie, because this is in Zombieville, where only zombies inhabited. Just here, Zombieville. Population too many.
That's funny. So I'm gonna ask you this is a fan favorite question.
Is it cereal?
What is that? Is it cereal? What do you mean by that?
Vicky?
Sorry.
Not? Jesus. So sorry about that, Rob. She doesn't mean to be that just classless. But uh, a question that always comes up, and the chat loves this question,
And it
is
comes up because Dean
Vicky,
asks
could
it.
you just not? Okay. Sorry about that, Rob. Once again, very classless. But what's your favorite cereal?
But cereal. But you're not gonna, because I'm Portuguese. You're not gonna have a frame of reference. It's this thing called the Choc-a-Pic, which you don't have in the States. I tried looking for it.
Can we get like an image? Are you able to pull up an image of this?
Yeah, but is this some kind of thing where it says a lot about you as a person?
No, no. I
No,
mean,
Dean just
it kind
asks
of does.
everybody
It
what
kind
kind
of
of cereal
does.
they like.
Vicky likes old person gross cereal, which makes sense. It does say a lot about it.
Chocolate frosted flakes or old people cereal.
So it's this.
I remember you saying Special K, Vicky.
I never would say
You
special.
definitely said, "Oh, those look good."
That does look good. Looks kind
You
of
wa-
like Cocoa Puffs,
Yeah,
but
Cocoa
dark
Puffs are
chocolate,
good as well.
but like
Cocoa
dark
Puffs are good.
chocolate.
Yeah, I like these better, but Cocoa Puffs are good as well.
Now, I hate Cookie Crisp. I think Cookie Crisp is just awful.
It's
I think
crap.
it's false advertising. I think that they're
Because
lying to kids.
they're neither cookies nor crisp.
Precisely. I
Yeah.
think that those should be forced to be taken off the market by some type of legal statute.
Intervention.
It's almost 6 a.m. over there. Now you're going to make him want breakfast.
And so that leads me to my next question.
Yeah,
Pancakes or French toast or waffles?
the pancakes always.
Pancakes. Oh, that's actually I feel like most people don't go for pancakes. It's usually like French toast or waffles. Not that pancakes are bad. I like pancakes. But are we talking like plain pancakes or
No,
like banana?
drenched in maple syrup and
So just regular like you don't like chocolate chips in your pancakes?
no, just plain
A
Jane.
Monte Cristo instead.
Oh, Monte Cristo.
Mm.
That's more like a lunch thing though for me.
Is that the cigar or?
No,
It's
it's
a deep fried like ham sandwich with
It's
powdered sugar.
ham and Swiss and strawberry jam, and then you dunk it like French toast and you fry it
wow.
up.
It's
And
like
then
really
sprinkle
really
it
good,
with
yeah.
powdered sugar and put maple syrup on it.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
it's really
strawberry
fucking good.
syrup.
It's
Yeah.
they make one.
That's the best way to start your day, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's one of the restaurants at Disneyland called the Mint Julep makes like the perfect Monte Cristo
That's the one in the
by Pirates of the Caribbean.
that's the one in the Pirates of the Caribbean,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right outside there, close to Indiana Jones too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. They do a good chicken Kiev as well for lunch.
Do you like Disneyland, Rob?
I love Disneyland.
Okay, you're a good guy. You're a good guy. I like you. Disneyland's one of my favorite places. Like
No, I
be
love
honest.
it. I love Disney World.
I've never been to Disney World. I want to, but I love Disneyland, man.
Did you know that it's the same size as San Francisco?
Disney World is?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's crazy, huh?
That is crazy. Yeah.
That is nuts.
So it's not just like a little bit bigger than Disneyland. It's like
I think the weird thing for me is that I don't think Disney World should be split into like 7 different parks. I think that they should just get rid of those borders. We should be a borderless Disney World.
yeah.
Yeah. A Disney World without borders. Yeah. I like it.
But I will say that the Disney as a company is really
Oh yeah, they're terrible, and they're ran by Satan himself. But oh man, Satan does a good job with Disneyland.
And what are your favorite rides?
Oh, so I typically I actually go to Disneyland. I'm mostly there to eat food. But I do like certain rides. Casey Jones, that That one train track ride is actually really cool.
Casey
Mostly 'cause
Jones, you mean like the Turtles character?
No, like
no.
Casey Jones was an engineer.
Yeah, there's like this,
Ah, is
Yeah.
that where
train
that comes
track.
from?
Yeah.
But you know Casey Jones, the Turtles character, right? That has
Yes.
Played
Yeah.
by, Green Arrow. Yeah,
right.
Yep.
yeah.
With the hockey
But,
stick.
and then let's see, what other rides do I like? Oh, what's that one? It's um, the Matterhorn. That's cool.
That's is that like that's one of the roller coasters, no?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
the
like
the mountain and the bobsled.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
there's
cool.
like
Yeah.
a snow yeti somewhere
I like
too.
Mr. Toad's Wild Ride and the
Yeah,
Alice
that's
in
cool.
Wonderland rides and the Haunted Mansion.
The Haunted Mansion I used to be obsessed with as a kid.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
that
me
one's
too.
cool. What's your favorite rides, Rob?
The Haunted Mansion's up there. Maybe not as much now. I haven't been in years, but and I did go to Disneyland fairly recently with my kid, but he was too young to take him to the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah,
He got freaked
gotcha.
out with Snow White,
That's
Oh,
and
understandable.
we
and,
went
and
when
understandable because there's like this part where you go where the witch shows up, which is pretty hardcore.
They call
Uh,
that one Snow White and the Abrupt Ending.
when we went, my nephew was 6. And so he was just tall enough to get on like Pirates of the Caribbean, which he was obsessed with. We had to go on that one over and over and over again. But they had just turned the Swiss Family Robinson house into the Tarzan tree house. And oh my God, did he kick up a fuss? He would start screaming, I don't want to play with Tarzan. I don't want to eat his food. And he refused to go anywhere near it. And but he was obsessed with the cartoon, right? He loved the movie. He loved the video game, but he wouldn't go into Tarzan's treehouse. And
Oh,
I
Cars
still
is
don't.
also a fun one. The Cars
Yeah.
ride. That one's also fun. You wanna know which one is actually probably it sounds really gay. It's a little gay. But it's probably one of my favorites is The Little Mermaid. It's just really nice. Like they did a really good job with like the effects because it's
yeah,
like
the animatronics. I've
well
never
there's
been
there's
to.
like the animatronics and then there's actual like it straight up just looks like the cartoon at certain points.
Really.
And like the way they displayed it, yeah, it has to be like some type of I don't know, like hologram or mirror thing with like
Yeah,
the
they have
actual
that. They
drawing.
incorporated that now, which they didn't have back in my day.
Yeah,
Where
no, it
the
just looks
robots are like their facial expressions or light projections, and it works fantastically.
yeah, no, it's really good. Um
My all-time favorite rides no longer exist.
yeah, that's because
Um,
she was there at
I
the
know.
very start when it first
Yeah,
opened. Yeah.
the submarine
Oh
ride.
no, the submarine ride's there.
Did they fix it up? I don't know, but
Yeah,
like
yeah, it's just a different. It's Nemo.
And Nemo,
yeah,
I saw that. That's
yeah,
good. I love that.
pre-Nemo. So it was like
It's
because the
the
last
same
time
thing.
I went, it had been closed for quite a while.
Yeah.
They weren't even sure they were going to renovate it. And then there used to be this ride where the Star Wars ride is now, called Inner Space. And you got into the little car pod thing, and as you traveled along the path, everything gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So the idea is that you're getting smaller and smaller until eventually the projections through the tunnel are just like atoms and things like that. I
Crazy.
know. I was a small kid, and that was my favorite.
You know what I
I
really enjoyed as well, but I was disappointed by how short it was the Indiana Jones
Yeah.
ride.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
that
good
one's cool.
one.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that
that
one's
one's
really
way
cool.
better than the Crystal Skull, right?
That's funny.
I know. I'm serious. Like they captured like that into the like the mystical like and like creepy side of Indiana Jones, which was always an element of the series. I feel, especially
Yeah.
in Temple of Doom, they really embraced that.
So like the props that are like there when you're like
In line.
going in line,
Uh-huh.
they're actually from the
Fantastic.
movie.
No, they're fantastic. Yeah, you feel like I wish I could get rid of all the people there and just like play around there even as an
Yeah.
adult
No, it's
for
really,
like an
really
hour or so. You know.
yeah.
April
Oh
is
man.
April is usually a really good month to go to Disneyland because
So
it's
we'll
not
all meet up there on April. In
Yeah,
April.
yeah,
let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because the weather's not too hot yet. Kids are all still in school. You go during the week. Yeah. So that's
you're
usually
talking
the
about
best.
the Anaheim one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, of
Yeah,
course.
Yeah,
yeah.
last
Yeah.
time I went, we stayed at the Disneyland Hotel, and I just don't think I'm ever not gonna stay at the Disneyland Hotel.
Last
Um,
time I went, I stayed at home.
But I will say this: it's getting ridiculously expensive. The theme park.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally. But
You have to be able to
I
like
will go poor. I
splurge.
will go like I will starve for the rest of the year, Rob.
Just to go to Disneyland.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, well, you know that you can like because Disneyland actually does allow you to bring in your own food. Not that I ever do. Like I'm there to eat, like food from Disneyland, but you can bring in your own food. It helps cut down costs. A lot of people don't know that, but they have like picnic areas.
yeah, yeah.
And he
I was
sings
sad.
them all for you, Well Read. He sings them for
Yeah, well, that's
you.
actually mine and Well-Red's private time, and I really don't appreciate that he would even bring that up publicly. So, we're gonna have a talking to, Mister. You're gonna have a talking to, Mister, when I'm done with this stream.
There was this section in the last time I went to Disneyland that had like an Indian hut, right?
Hmm?
And it used to be that it was like like an Indian and a cowboy smoking a peace pipe or something like this.
Oh yeah.
And the Indians no longer. Neither is the cowboy, but they're no longer there because it's too.
Why would they get rid of the Indians? See, I feel like that's actually now racist. They could have gotten rid of the white guy, and I don't think people would care. But I think we should raise a fuss over them getting rid of the Indian.
Because it's a portrayal. There's no reason, man. You know, it's so like.
Yeah, well, it kind of just like, goes with this whole, like we just took their, like, we removed him from his land. He was there, and that was his spot. And uh, I just think that it really plays into America's, I guess, rough history. I think that's the angle we should run with. Yeah, that's
So
it. That's
now
the one.
all you're left with is a teepee tent and
Yeah, why not get like why would they keep the TV tent?
it's so stupid.
That's
And there's like this burning fire that's yeah.
That's beautiful. Poor Indian. He actually died of diseases. He was given a blanket by that cowboy, and we
Yeah,
know how that
disease
goes.
called disease called wokeism.
That's great, man.
Yeah, there's very little wokeism in your book, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's no, zero.
Yeah. I really did enjoy the first one. I reread it today.
That's
I
great.
did.
No, Vicky, I'm sure you're going to enjoy this book a whole lot more. And the second volume, I'm confident that it's going to make waves. I hope it's going to make waves in the indie space at least. And it's fast in progression now. Where it's in development as we speak. All the line work is done because Monica, she works like you can't imagine. She like delivers a page a day, like it's nothing.
Nice.
Wow.
And but the colorist Tanya Wicker is a little slower, but when the work is as good as the one that she delivers, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. It's all about quality. As
It's
long
all
as
about
you're
quality.
not like, got a deadline that you're gonna be late on. And even then, like, a lot of people.
And then again,
A
this
lot of
is indie
people, yeah, can't
comics.
get
You
rid
can
of.
be as late as you freaking want,
Yeah,
apparently.
but as long as like you're not like really pushing into a deadline well past or anything. As long as you got quality, which you have, that's all that matters. Putting out a
That's the
quality
thing
product.
I'm most concerned with, and with the projects that I have, I like being complete, having them mostly completed before I launch
Yeah,
a
I think
campaign.
that's actually the way to go.
I
It
prefer
is,
backing a project that's mostly completed.
Well,
Or
yeah,
I
but
mean, as a buyer, you've got a lot more confidence in backing a product like that.
yeah. I don't want to back a book and have a fulfillment date a year away and then still have to wait after that. It's just
and wait after
too
that.
much.
That's often the case, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, because that year
Mm.
wasn't long enough to do 48 pages. And you're like, okay. I
So
mean, I
listen,
can understand.
I'll tell you the reason why this particular book exists in the first place is because so it was originally meant uh, to be a part of Tales from the Classroom 2 as the supplemental part of it, right? So you get the main story, and you also get this would have made it like an almost 200-page book,
Wow.
but but um, but since I had all this art basically done already, and I don't want like the Tales from the Classroom IP to sort of wither away from people's memories. I decided why not make it into a separate book? It makes perfect sense,
Yeah.
and it buys me time for the actual Tales from the Classroom 2 to be, to get done in the interim. And while I'm promoting this book and everything,
Mhm.
we're doing the development on Tales from the Classroom 2. And the idea is to launch Volume 2 at around the time we start fulfilling this one. Let's see if that's
Nice.
possible.
Yeah. No, that sounds like a really good plan. I'm really happy for you, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
Let's hope that this campaign does a little bit better than the first one. That's the idea. To work in increments, And
I dropped the link in the chat. It's also in the description.
Yeah, people make sure to go check it out. If you can't back it, you should still share it because there's probably someone that's gonna like it. It's a quality book for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I just feel like people think that they like times are tough, they can't back it, but then they always forget you can still share it. That's like more than half of the work is just word of mouth.
it's true. And I'll tell you something. There's this book. It's 50 plus pages of content, so it's sizable.
Yeah.
But I can understand that times are tough, and people are skeptical of investing in something that's as expensive as the book is. I don't think the book is expensive at all. It's just the shipping costs are such a kick in the nuts. But that holds true for every other crowd-funded book. But
yeah.
Yeah,
that's too
but
much. If the shipping costs are too much for you to handle, I really recommend it. I know that there's a lot of people in the indie scene that are against it, but I recommend the digital option.
oh, digital is a wonderful
Oh, yeah.
option.
We're
Yeah,
definitely proponents of digital here.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
and
mean, like, in reality, like, physical is, um, I hate to say it, but not nearly as viable, and in the long run, will probably end up, you know, uh,
Yeah, this paper becomes far more niche than than this indie comics already is.
yeah, there's a
Yeah.
reason why like manga does so well. It's a lot of digital copies.
is there really? I didn't know that. That's funny.
Yeah, a lot of it's digital. Yeah, hell
Okay.
yeah. I mean, that's how most people read manga. Digital. Yeah.
Yeah, and with the first book, we did a little like very rudimentary interactive component element to it, which is kind of fun. I don't know if you saw that, Vicky, but like you have to, in order for it to work, you have to read it with Adobe Acrobat Reader.
Hmm.
and basically you click, and then Rob says something, like a blurb shows up, like a text blurb. So you get like like a standard wallpaper, right? And then you click on it, and Rob shows up and says something to inform what you're looking at. And I thought that's kind of neat, and maybe we take it one step a little bit more and like forward with the Tales from the Classroom 2 and this edition as well. We're going to play around maybe with some sound effects and see if we can make the digital experience more interesting.
That would be really cool. I've been waiting for stuff like that. But yeah, I've kind of reached my limit. This has been so great. I'm so glad that you got up early to come and talk with us.
Yeah, you're a champ. Because I wouldn't even get up this early, like as early as you did for my show. So I thank you. I thank you, because I mean I would be like, yo, Vicky, you're handling this on your own. No, but seriously, it was really nice talking to you. And
Yeah, this
your
was
book is,
great.
like, it's really beautiful, and I think you should be proud. And I hope that it does really well. I'll make
Thank
sure
you.
to. I mean, I've lost my Twitter account, and I may be on Twitter hiding with an obvious account that's obviously mine. But even though I don't have quite the following, even though I never had quite the following,
And he
I'll make
never
sure to tweet it
tweets.
out. I'll
We'll
make sure
make
to
sure he
tweet it out
does.
for sure.
Well, but then at least drop me a follow so I know who you are.
Yeah. Just I'll get it from Vicky. Your at after the show.
Yeah, and we'll stay in touch, and
Yeah.
and
No,
and
definitely.
we'll speak. We'll speak when you guys review the Cthulhu files for sure. I'll feature in that, and go easy on me, all right?
For sure.
But thank you so very much, and thank you to everybody who did join us in the chat.
Minus well read. Thank you everybody, but well read. And Billy Basco. Yeah, I always forget about.
Hey,
I
I love Billy Basco. You be
That's
nice
not really
to
anything to be
Billy.
proud of, Billy. To rethink things if Vicky loves you.
Stop it, Gene. Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.
Good night.